Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about my final water drop, what I did to cut water, what happened with my performance, what I learned from this, and what, if anything, I could have done differently, because obviously I have to now get myself in gear to get ready for Nationals in 6 months. Now, as far as the final water drop, I realized when I had cut carbs that it still was not going to be enough. Because what had happened, I had been down to 104 kilos over a week out. I did a big refeed the Saturday before my final heavy training session, and my weight shot all the way back up to like 108, 109, depending on which scale I used. And I was suddenly 8 days out and 7 days out from the weigh-in. So that's why I had to cut carbs. I stopped eating carbs on Sunday. My performance suffered a little bit, but had I come in and hit the same lifts I had hit on low carbs, I would have gone 40 kilos heavier. I still wouldn't have been happy with that, but I could have lived with it. But as the weight was coming down from the lower carbs, I noticed a dramatic change in the mirror, but the scale was barely going down. 2 days out, and I was still sitting at like 103 kilos. That's not good, so I went into and did a 36-hour fast, the same thing John Antrobus did. And then we got in the sauna. When we got to the sauna, I was still sitting at 101 kilos. I'm sorry, 100.6. And so we rotated through the sauna until I got down to 99. And I really wish I had gotten the weigh-ins on video, because all of us look so skinny. You guys would have been shocked at what I looked like. I actually didn't even have love handles by that time. But John East, before I could even get the camera set up, had already weighed in, and he was already chugging food and Lucozade and water before I could even get the tripod out to set the camera up. He just walked in and wanted to get done, so we ended up not recording any of that. But the truth is, would I have done something different with the final week? No, absolutely not. The changes I needed to make should have been done months out. And that's something I have to accept in retrospect. It's my own fault. It was my own mistakes early on. It was in large part due to my own stress with working with all my permanent residency in this country. Really detracted from me being able to focus on the things I needed to focus on for the meet. And it was because I placed that at a higher priority than my meet at the time, which I had to, or else I wouldn't have been here for the meet. But that's the consequence of that, of placing something else as a higher priority over your prep. You're going to have problems. In that case, I didn't drop weight down. I should have started leaning out really hard and made within 2 kilos of my weight 12 weeks out. Or even dropped under 100 kilos, and then so I could have clean bulked a little bit into the meet instead of having to restrict my diet so much. But the reality is, the reason it doesn't matter and why I wouldn't have done anything different is my main goal was to get qualified in the weight class I want to be in. I do not want to be in the 110 kilo. I'm too old for that. I carry too much body fat. There's no reason for me to be sitting up at 110 kilos and compete at that and stay that way for the rest of the year. And if I wanted to compete at 100 kilos, I had to go under 100 kilos for this meet. I had no choice there, or else I was going to get stuck in that weight class, and I don't feel comfortable at that high of a body weight. I don't feel that it's healthy for someone at my size to carry that much body weight or fat weight, and there's no way I'm going to gain enough muscle to be lean in that, at least not for years. So in retrospect, I wouldn't necessarily change anything, because the truth is, while I was very unhappy with my lifts, I wouldn't have been happy with a 650 total. And when we plugged in the math, had I gone 650 and gone 55 kilos heavier, I would have placed the exact same at the meet. I would have hit the same qualifiers, everything else. So the strength loss was livable, because I still inched out the 3rd and 4th place for the overall. I still qualified for Nationals, but had I come in better, had I come in and I hit the best predicted lifts that I could have hit based upon what I was getting a couple weeks out from the meet, with full strength in the 99 kilo, I simply would not have caught John. John still would have beat me for the overall, because the truth is, at no point in my meet prep was I ever strong enough to beat him. That is the reality. I am not physically strong enough on my lifts to beat John on the Wilks. So if I want to beat John, I have to get stronger. No excuses. And when I look at the lifts themselves, everything failed exactly where it should have failed for a raw lifter who trains the way that I do. On the lifts that I missed, I didn't get enough power out of the bottom on the squats. With the third attempt on the bench that I couldn't lock, it wasn't a lockout issue, is that I didn't get enough strength and speed off the chest. If you can get a weight moving fast enough off your chest, it doesn't matter if it's 5,000 pounds, you're going to lock it. It doesn't matter how much it is. If you get enough power out of the bottom and enough speed, then clearly you have the strength to lock that lift. You can lock it if you just get it moving fast enough. So that is always your weakness on the weak bench. It's never your lockout. And the same with the deadlift. I got the weight started off the floor, but it didn't build up enough speed and momentum for me to get it much higher than a few inches off the floor on the ones that I missed. So that's what's to be expected, which means I just need to keep focusing on pause type training, getting more explosive out of the bottom on all of my lifts, and my lifts will go up. Now, I'll give you guys my game plan later. This video will run on too long if I do that, but I have formulated a game plan based upon what I need to do this year if I want to improve. If I want to get closer to a 700 kilo total in 6 months in my weight class, I have formulated a bit of a game plan. And at this point, I just need to execute it. And it's currently in motion. It involves partially cutting really early on. I'm going to drop way under 100 kilos early. And I got a good head start. To be honest, guys, I looked a lot leaner after my refeed at the meet, and even yesterday morning and the day before, the days following the meet, I am way leaner than I was at any point during the meet. That final cut and me doing fasted cardio in the mornings on no carbs, reduced calories, and then that 36-hour fast while being YouTube nutty really stripped a lot of fat on me. I think I literally went down 2 or 3 pounds of fat in that final 36 hours of eating literally nothing while being slightly enhanced. I literally lost at least 2 or 3 pounds of fat alone, and it was very obvious to me after the refeed that I got leaner. My waist is a good inch and a half smaller than it was a week before the meet. So that's already a good start, and so what I need to do at this point is just start cutting down. And I'll break all of that down as it goes along as to what I'm doing. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.